I am so happy that you could join us here today. This is Crystal Dillard for Texas. I'm running for State Representative District 131. And I'm so excited today because I have the chance to actually introduce you to a really crucial part of my campaign team. They were able to take off from their from work and get over here real fast to the studio, and really kind of put themselves in a position to be kind of raw. I want you to get to know them. I want you to know why I really appreciate them being on my campaign team, and they've got different backgrounds and different stories. And some, this is their first time being on a campaign team, and some have done it before. But what better way for you to get to know them than to just meet them and get their story straight from their mouth? Again, I'm Crystal, and to my right is going to be Kim. Kim, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Kim Dillard, and I am Crystal's sister. So you're going to hear a lot of Dillard names, throughout this campaign. And I am the media coordinator. So I help to set up different kind of interviews and different events for Crystal and contact different people to facilitate those events. So I am former general manager of Rejoice TV. And that is one of the reasons why I have been pressed into service. I have been volunteered I wasn't volunteered, I was voluntold to be a media coordinator. So that's me. That's my story.
And to my left is Rebecca. Rebecca, introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Rebecca Williams, and let's just say I'm the driver of this ship. Mm-hmm. I am Crystal's campaign manager, and this is not my first rodeo, actually. I worked for State Representative Al Edwards and did his constituent services. Rest in peace. And I'm a teacher in the public school system where I teach history, and I have a degree from Prairie View A&M University. Big ups to PV, HBCU, in political science, and a minor in English.
Awesome. Thank you, Rebecca. And to my right in the rear, we have Mr. Kenny Hill. Kenny, tell us a little bit about yourself. And Kenny's a man of few words. He's the silent but deadly type.
I like it.
Wonderful introduction. As she said so eloquently, my name is Kenny Hill, and I'm a part of the team as just a push, a force to make sure the agenda is going accordingly, and to fill in as many roles as I possibly can, because I believe in this sister. I love her agenda. I love what she stands for, and especially with the youth programs that she's trying to get across, the equal rights for everyone. And hey, Crystal Dillard, 2022. Let's get it.
Thank you, Kenny. Yeah. And to my rear on the left is Mr. Quincy Moore. Quincy, tell us about yourself.
How you doing? My name is Quincy Moore. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a son. I am a pillar within the Black community and within all communities. I am the co-founder of Effective Revisions, which deals with prevention, intervention, and reentry. And I'm the owner-operator of Moore's Lawn Care and Outside Services. What I contribute to Crystal's campaign, I'm a volunteer, and I'm the go-to guy. Whatever she needs done, I go out there and I get it done. I believe in Crystal's campaign. I like her agenda. I like her passion. And oftentimes you have a lot of people that come in under politics, and we don't trust politicians, but she's not just a politician. She's a family-oriented woman herself, and she's a woman of the community, from the schoolhouse to the state house.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I'm going to tape that for a commercial, Quincy, okay? Guys, one of the reasons that I wanted to bring everyone in here today and talk a little bit more about what we are really, really about as far as moving the community forward are my 4Rs platform. And I am going to tell you a little bit about those 4Rs, starting with reform. And when I say reform, I'm talking about being able to reform the relationship between our community, the community at large, and the police department. That's something that is heavy on my heart because I know how important the police department and law enforcement is to society as a whole. It's vital. And there's been a disconnect, and I don't think that it's a disconnect that cannot be reconnected. And I'm going to throw it out there to my campaign team, because one of the things that we really want to work towards this year and going forward in the campaign towards the election is really getting that dialogue started between the community and the police department, and really get some workable solutions out there to see how we can be able to work cohesively together and be able to rebuild that bond and that trust from one to the other. So I'm going to throw that out there first to Kim. Kim, if you were someone who really had the power to put in place one initiative that you think would help to rebuild the police department and the community, what do you think that you would try to do? What's something we could
Okay.
try?
All righty. Well, I am going to answer that. First of all, though, I'm going to backtrack a little bit, and I'm going to mention some of the other members of our campaign team. We have Preston Dillard, again, another Dillard. He is our volunteer coordinator. He helped bring these gentlemen actually onto
Yes.
Crystal's campaign team. Also, Mr. Dwayne Charleston.
Yes.
And he has also been an influence in the campaign. In our
Political
campaign,
A wonderful
team.
strategist.
Very good strategist. And Agnes Dillard, again Dillard, and she is over our fundraising and donors.
Sharon Dillard.
Sharon Dillard, and
She's a treasurer.
She is our treasurer. We have Patricia Gregory.
Yes.
And we have Brenda Mayfield.
Right.
They are over our special events.
Absolutely.
So those are a few. If we missed anybody, let's go ahead and get them, and then we'll go ahead and
Okay. Yolanda Roy, who's
Yes.
also
Yes.
a teacher. She
Yes.
helps with our research and development. Mr. Zapata, Mr. Z.
Mr. Z.
He helps with our Gen Z outreach.
Yes.
Zave Williams, who is our strategist as well. Excellent strategist. Excellent. Go Zave.
And Carl Mays.
And Carl Mays, also
strategist.
another strategist on our campaign too, who's also excellent. So yay, it's not just us.
And also that we have a lot of foot soldiers. We have a lot of foot soldiers who have, are really helping us get out there and go essentially person to person.
Right.
Torrance
to get
and
out.
Salvador.
Salvador.
Sal and Torrance.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Marshall.
Jarius.
Marshall Dillard.
Yes.
Yes.
Jerry is. Oh, and D Gray, another.
D.
Gray.
Gray. As you can see, the family is very supportive.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Frankie Dillard, our mother.
Yes.
Mommy.
And she
Mommy.
She keeps
Mommy.
everyone in line.
Yes,
Keeps everyone in
she
line.
keeps everyone in line, keeps everyone grounded. So, to the question, if I could see anything that I think the police department can do,
And the community.
and the community, I think after George Floyd was killed, and there was so much community outpouring of not only frustration but passion.
Right.
I think there was a big initiative to do something. Right now, it's kind of stalled,
Mhm.
and that's one thing in politics that that can happen.
And we don't want it
Because
to happen.
We don't want it to happen, but it doesn't happen immediately.
Right.
I know that's why a lot of people voted in this last election. We had more turnout than we ever had in the history of the country,
Right.
and it was the safest election in the history of the country. And people are frustrated sometimes because they think, well, we did all this and still nothing happened. So I would say that a lot of municipalities
Right.
probably need to rethink their policing in terms of outreach to the community,
Mhm.
not just their policing in terms of adding
Force.
not just force,
Right.
not just weapons,
Right.
not just armor, not just vehicles, but adding staffs of mental health staff.
Psychologists, possibly.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yes.
And actually as a boots on the ground sort of a team when there are calls for a 911 calls,
Right.
and
it's a mental health
and
issue.
it's a mental health issue.
Right.
And many times people who call 911 will know it's a mental health issue. A lot of times a relative is in
Right.
distress and they will call because they're fearful for that relative's safety,
Right.
or their own safety, or the safety of their relative. What harm can they do to themselves? So, with that, if
Education.
if education, and not only that, if an actual mental health team is
Right.
deployed, I can see outcomes being very different
Right.
than they have been a lot of times in the past. Mhm.
And
Go
one
ahead.
thing that we have seen with a lot of police, and a lot of police departments are implementing
Mhm.
these types of tools,
Mhm.
and they do see different outcomes with the correct training.
Mhm.
And training means everything. I don't think that at any point is it prudent to take money away from police departments. I think it's prudent to make sure that that money is spent in ways that's going to shore up that police department in ways that it needs to be shored up so that it can be of better service to the community.
Reallocated
Absolutely.
a lot of times.
I'm going to throw it to Rebecca. The same question, Rebecca.
And guys, jump on in.
Yeah, and I'm gonna let everyone have a chance to kind of address that because we all have different perspectives.
Okay, repeat the question because I'm
Yes,
so
if
enthralled
you
with him.
if you were able to have one initiative implemented to help to rebuild the relationship between the community and the police departments, what would you do?
Well, I actually thought about this a long time ago, Crystal, because I have students who are young students
Mhm.
and they don't trust the police because of some of the things that they've seen.
Mhm.
So I figured, because I do have friends that's on the police department, and I know what kind of character that these guys had.
Right.
And I know that they have the community's best interest at heart.
Absolutely.
And I know this for a fact.
Right.
Because I grew up with them.
Right.
So I know this for a fact. So I figured maybe it needs to be a community and youth groups coming together, police officers and community. And I actually told one of them that it needs to be police officers and youth groups coming together so they can see another side of the police department.
Right.
They can see and maybe inspire some of the youth to want to become police officers and
Absolutely.
do better by the community.
Right.
And I think that's the direction, and I'm not speaking on behalf of HPD, but I think that's the direction
Right.
that they're trying to go.
Absolutely.
To reach out with the police chief, who I think is amazing. Shout out to Troy. I just think he's amazing. But I think that's the direction that they're trying to go. And I think that would be a great thing to show the police, hey, they don't have to be these big, scary people to be afraid of, because a lot of them are sons and fathers and brothers and uncles
That's
and
right.
godfathers
And
too.
dad.
They're
Yeah.
human.
Right.
And I think that's the side that needs to be seen more than that. And then, maybe they will come to them as people. The youth will come to them as people that they can reach out to
And
for
confide
help
in.
and confide in.
Absolutely.
So I think it needs to be a bridged gap between the youth and the police officers.
Absolutely. And one thing that I remember my sister saying, my sister works in the municipal
City of Houston.
arena, City of Houston.
City of Houston.
But she told me that last year, when she was at work, there was a group, at that point, the group of new cadets, I don't know how many classes have gone through since then, but that came in for an event where she works. And when the cadets came in, she was so happy to see the diversity in that group of cadets.
Yes.
And she said that everyone who was in there, they just started clapping because it was after the George Floyd incident. But we saw such a diverse group that still said, this is the direction that I want to go. And everyone in the building just started clapping when they came in. Tell us a little bit about
I
that.
think a lot of times, well, since that point, you had some people, and especially younger people, who might be frustrated,
Right.
who might say, this will never change. This is all I've ever seen. And
Right.
then you had some other young people who said, you know what?
I'm going to be the change.
I'm going to be the change.
Right.
And at that point, those young people, a lot of young people of color,
Right.
decided to go to
Join
the
police
academy. They
department.
decided to join the police academy. They wanted their communities to see police officers that look like them.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the kind of thing that is absolutely amazing, because I personally do not, I'm not speaking for anyone else, but I
Right.
personally do not think you can have a police force that is a drastic difference from the community that it is policing. I think
Absolutely.
that is a recipe for disaster.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's why with HPD, from what I can just see from the outside looking in,
Right.
I think there is a tremendous push
Yes.
for that to be remedied.
That inclusion. of
That
everyone.
I absolutely believe it.
Absolutely.
I see it with my own eyes. So you might not see it, very much right now, but let's say 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now,
Oh, yeah.
things might look
Develop.
very
Right.
different. And I think that
Develop.
is a positive step forward.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I'm going to go back to Kenny. Kenny, if you were able to put forth one initiative to help bridge that gap and help there be a better understanding, what do you think could be done possibly?
I would.
Because you have
First
young
thing-
daughters.
Right.
You have
I
young daughters.
have
Yes.
two little girls.
Mhm.
But one of the things, if it was myself in your shoes going into office,
Mm-hmm.
with the police force, one of the things I would do is better evaluate psychologically the officers that are going in.
Right.
Because
Yes.
a lot of the officers that we have going in, these guys are veterans.
Right.
And so they're wired and geeked
They may
up
have some trauma. Yeah.
from being overseas, and they whole perception of people on the outside, if you're not in the same uniform standing right by me, then you are the enemy.
Okay.
And so now when they come
think
out on
that's
the
true.
streets,
Right.
they still have
Military
deprogrammed their
Right.
mentality to see people as civilians, and they
Right.
still see people as insurgents.
Right.
Wow.
So
Right.
this is part of
I
the
never thought
problem.
about that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem right there, as far as
Right.
with law enforcement, because I'm not saying all, but
Right.
it's a large part of them that still view everyone as an enemy.
Okay.
And so that's why you have situations with George Floyd.
Mhm.
So
Right.
I would prefer a better
Psychological.
psychological evaluation
Absolutely.
of these particular officers or ex-soldiers that's
Right.
coming into the force.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting perspective. I never really thought about that
Yeah,
because
like us and them.
yeah,
Yeah.
you do have, there are many officers that once served honorably in the military and they go into the police department. And I think that there is a common echoing thread that everyone has said, and that is that it's so important to make sure that we have these psychological services available for officers, not just when they come in, but throughout the time, because they see a lot out there.
Yes.
Mhm.
They've got to see a lot on a daily basis that we will never see. And that's definitely a service that needs to be there for them. And I think that many departments are doing a wonderful job of being able to offer that. I'm going to turn over to Quincy. Quincy, if you could have one initiative that you would like to see help bridge the gap between the community and the police department, what do you think is something that possibly could work?
I'm gonna have to say transparency.
Okay.
It would be transparency and transparency not just from the police, but those that police the police. Because,
Okay.
because what you have is you have a situation where as an officer may do something wrong, but then you have a system that is supposed to judge that officer on what that officer did wrong. And when that system fails, that's when the community no longer has trust in the police or the system. Like a classic example, I have a friend.
Mm-hmm.
My friend just died in police custody. No, October the 10th.
Wow.
October the 10th. It's today makes 17 days.
Okay.
His parents have not received the autopsy to cause of death.
Wow.
They have not received his property, and they're giving him the runaround. How
Right.
can we just buried him Monday,
Right.
and we couldn't bury him Saturday when we had the funeral because there's too many people dying in a cemetery to only bury 5 people that week.
Right. Right.
And so
Wow.
now here it is. How can a family rest their loved one in peace
Right.
when they don't have answers to his cause of death?
Right.
But he died in police custody. So it's like, where are the cameras? Where are all these different things at? Now, you have some people that say, defund the police, do away with the police. I don't agree with defund the police.
Right.
Like you said,
You need the
reallocate the money.
right.
Better train them on how to deal with people with mental illnesses.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So that when you interact and engage with them, especially with dealing with the Black community, because it's like when they see us, it's like we are a threat. I'm a Black man when I'm going to school. I'm a
Right.
Black man when I'm going to work. I'm
Right.
a Black man going grocery shopping. I can't take my Black skin off.
Right.
But those officers, they can take their blue suit off.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
And so when you have a community of people
Right.
that are in fear of the same people that's supposed to serve and protect them, that's an issue. That's a problem.
Right.
So it's like start looking at us as human beings,
Right.
as those fathers and individuals in the community,
Mhm.
But it comes with transparency.
Right.
Right.
And one thing is very true, and that is, I think all of us would probably agree to this, that a dialogue starting between the community and the police department, just like almost like town halls, neighborhood associations. It's something that neighborhood associations may be able to do, to host a town hall, ask police officers or some police commanders to come out and allow the community to ask questions. And when I'm in my classes, I like to tell my students, and Rebecca echoed this a minute ago, that I want to see some of you who become police officers and come back to your own community and serve your own community. That's something that, and then when you are called out to a scene, you could very well be going to see someone that they're going to respond to you differently. You may be able to de-escalate a situation
Right.
because the family, or at least that community, and they know you.
And
Makes a huge difference.
those initiatives have worked.
Right. Yes.
They are working when the community is interacting with the police officers that are policing in that particular community.
Mhm.
Right.
Now, outside of that community, and you're just driving,
Mhm.
regardless of what nationality or race that you
Right.
are,
Right.
and you encounter the police.
Right.
How are those police officers trained to deal with? Now you're in an unfamiliar area.
Right.
How
Right.
do you deal with these individuals that you come across now?
Right.
Well, I think it goes back to that initial, like you said, having that dialogue between the police and because
Community.
the
Yeah.
community, because
Mhm.
you never understand somebody unless you walk a mile in their shoes.
Absolutely.
We don't really understand what the police see on a daily basis.
That's right.
And I'm sure they see things
Their
that
job
would
is
make
tough.
most of us
Right.
sick.
That's right.
So they already have that stress built up.
Right.
Mhm.
And then they have to go out, and then of course they have to go home to their families, and
That's
they have
right.
to go home and to that stress,
Mhm.
and their families are worried about them
Right.
being out. So I think it's really walking a mile in each other's shoes, and
Yeah.
having that dialogue, having that cohesiveness to get to the bottom line.
Mhm.
And I feel like, and I'm echoing the sentiments of everybody, it's just best if certain police officers police their own communities.
Right.
in a lot of areas because we understand each other, we understand each other's background,
Right,
and we can
that's true.
And
communicate.
especially in communities where maybe there's a foreign language spoken.
Right.
Exactly.
So, right, Houston is one of the most
Most cosmopolitan cities.
diverse cities in the entire country. We have 40 some odd different
Languages spoken.
plus
Right.
spoken here in Houston. So when you have people who are not only familiar with the community, familiar with the language, familiar with the culture, that kind of thing, then at that point, there's going to be a lot better understanding when you come into a situation.
Right.
So, and that it might be easier to de-escalate a situation if you do that. Now, I cannot tell you what the name of the initiative was, but during the Obama era, there was an initiative for reform in policing, and they were primarily talking about how to teach different police departments, how to implement de-escalation techniques
In communities.
and
Right.
community policing techniques.
But that's what it was.
And
It was
different-
policing in community.
Right,
Right.
in different police departments.
Right.
And especially a lot of the major cities, police departments in the major cities signed on to that. They were like,
Right.
yeah, we see a problem.
Right.
And if this is something that can help, help this problem not go away, but help it at least in some way, you know what?
Right.
We're okay. We want to do that. Well, after terms change with different presidents and things are not priorities anymore. So that was kind of put on the
Right.
back burner.
Right.
But now we have police reform coming back up, even though it didn't get any traction yet in Congress, but
Yes.
it's coming back up. And it hasn't gone away, and it will not go away.
Right. And it has to be addressed. And like I said, I don't think that there is anyone, and I'm going to even reach out and say anyone who is thinking through the situation very thoroughly that would say that at this point in time, it's time to defund or take away any money from police departments. We know for sure that's not the case in Houston, just looking at the amount of crime that you see on a daily basis. I'm a Houston native, and I've never seen crime as out of control and the types of heinous crimes that are going on out there, like I've seen within the past, I'm just going to say 2 years. And everything, I really don't know where or if you can put the blame at the feet of one particular cause, but I don't think you can blame everything on COVID. I know that we try to sometimes, but when you look at things that are going on, just like with the abandoned children this week, just like with people going in and terrorizing and killing members of their own families. This is the kind of thing that we've almost become desensitized to because we hear about it so much. My question to my team is this, because we do get together, ladies and gentlemen, and we talk about these things, and we talk, we get such a diverse perspective just from sharing information with the team. I want to put this question out there to my team now. With the crime rate, the way that it is in Houston right now, what do you think the escalation in really, really violent crimes is a result of at this point in time?
Well, I think it's COVID. And no, okay. So let me rephrase what I'm saying. I think because of the effects of COVID, everybody was locked up in their houses for a year and some change.
Right.
People were at home more than they ever have been before.
Right.
So you have families, you had people who had mental health issues.
Right.
You had people who
Confined.
Who had alcohol issues, who had
Right.
addictions,
Right.
who had
Right.
all of these things that maybe work kind of filled it out, going out kind of filled it out. You had, they had other distractions.
Right.
But now you in your four walls.
Right.
And there is no distraction.
Except your family.
You're looking at you every day.
Right.
Right.
And you're looking at your family every day.
Right.
So if I don't have those distractions and I'm already mentally ill, or I'm already suffering from addiction,
Right.
or I'm already having these turmoil and internal
Internal.
struggles,
Right.
Mhm.
who you think I'm gonna lash out on?
Right. Exactly.
The
Right.
people that's sitting in these four walls with me.
Mhm.
Right.
Right.
And I might not mean to or want to,
Right.
but I don't have anything else
You have
distracting
no
me.
more outlets.
I don't
Right.
have an outlet.
Yeah.
And it's
Mhm.
only so much TikTok I can watch
Right.
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 for 16
And
hours.
you know what? It's true. I was reading somewhere that for people, there was a survey that said people, about 45% of those people surveyed said that they were experiencing some sort of mental, I don't want to say illness, trauma, some sort of mental upheaval
A
or something
psychosis of some sort.
during
Right.
COVID. Now that's a huge amount.
40%. That's close to half. Yeah.
45%
Yeah.
saying something was going on with them mentally during the time they were, really locked down with
Right.
COVID. I mean, but what was the alternative at that
Exactly.
point? The alternative was, go out and infect.
Well, there were no
350
vaccines or
million
anything
people.
at that point.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So, all of this, coming together, and now we're seeing the fallout of it. I think it's going to
Level off.
I think it's going to level off at some point. I mean, maybe just because people who are, committing these, not only violent crimes but very strange crimes.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that is going to be, they're going to be, incarcerated. They're going to be, things are going to happen to them in the system.
Right.
But as people start getting back to work, back to school,
Right.
back to
The norms.
Yeah. it's gonna level off, because now people are gonna have an outlet, a breather. They're gonna have a way to decompress.
Right.
And I think COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And let me
I'm
pass that
I'm
question to
apart from
Kenny.
The COVID,
Right.
I think lack of education.
Mm-hmm.
If people would spend less time using the alcohol
Right.
and the drugs, hey man, it's all right to pick up a book
Yeah.
instead of picking up that PS5 and
Yeah.
shoot 'em up, bang bang, modern warfare. And
Right.
that played into your subconscious.
Right.
Right. That's
right.
true.
Now your
Mhm.
student money's gone.
Right.
And
Yeah,
you have to go to the
right.
PPP loans and
Right,
everything.
right,
All this
right.
goes, So now you
Yeah.
acquired a certain lifestyle that you got used to by
Right.
sitting back,
Mhm.
but you didn't do nothing to keep that lifestyle going in a positive way.
Right.
Exactly.
So
Uh-huh.
now they lashing out in a bad way.
Yes.
So that's just my perspective
Mhm.
of that.
Right.
You just got to educate yourself more, and it's gonna take a little time for people to get out that lazy mode.
Yes,
because
that's
everyone
true.
even got spoiled and lazy.
That's true. And it's trickled all the way down into the classrooms.
Yeah.
You know,
Hello.
when Rebecca and I were talking about that today, because we're having to re-engage the students and try to filter them back into a certain mode of doing things on a daily basis. And it's hard when you've been at home for a year and a half. That's
Mhm.
not an easy transition. It's happening slowly. We're seeing a lot more incidences of different types of, I don't want to say fights, but just at the escalation of emotions in our school now
So
as a result of that.
I know what you ladies being educators and everything. Would you say that because of COVID, a lot of the social skills in society have fell off tremendously?
Oh my gosh.
Of course. I think
Oh
what
my
COVID
gosh.
did, I think COVID, everybody wants to blame COVID. Oh, it's COVID. But what I think COVID did more than anything, it just shined a light
And what was
on
already
everything that's going on. It just,
Right.
you couldn't hide from it anymore.
there. Right.
It was just like, you could hide behind government, you could hide behind this, you could hide behind that. But now COVID put everything in the spotlight. So
Mhm.
society's problems was an open book.
Right.
You couldn't hide from it, you couldn't disguise it. It
Mhm.
is what it is,
Right.
what it is.
Right.
So let me ask you, Quincy, what do you think is the cause of so much violence and so many unheard of, unspeakable crimes taking place just within the last 2 years, things that we've never heard of before?
Well, well, you have different types of crimes, and so I have to sit there and look at the types of crimes, the age group
Right.
that's doing these crimes, because you have people that commit crimes for money, and then you
Mhm.
have people that create what they characterize as heinous crimes.
Right.
It's just like
Uh-huh.
this right here is vicious, is
Right.
and it's like we're trying to understand, why would this man do this to this elderly man or woman, to these kids?
People they have no relationship with.
Exactly.
Right.
Just
Right.
just random type
Right.
stuff.
Uh-huh.
And so when you start doing stuff like that, people, it's like, okay, people, listen, just listen at this. COVID made people stay at home,
Right.
Uh-huh.
and that made you go crazy because you had to stay at home with the people that you love.
Mhm.
Now, they had studies that spoke about people in solitary confinement.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
They say that right there is inhumane.
Right.
To lock a man up in a room,
Right.
closed off without any lights.
Right.
You can't do that to a dog.
Right.
You
Right.
can't do that to
Right.
a dog.
Right.
Keep a dog up and in isolation.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So now you take a man or a woman and you say, okay, look, you have to stay at home with your kids.
Right.
And this makes them go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you've never been at home with them for longer than
Then that
I don't know if your kids getting on your nerves. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
or your wife or husband.
yeah, there's a
Right.
certain level that our
Right.
loved ones gonna get on our nerves. I mean,
Right.
you've been around
That's
anyone
normal.
too
That's
long.
normal.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. They've
That's
been
normal.
around them for
But
so
that
long.
doesn't make a person snap and go crazy. They
Right.
were already going to do that.
Right.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we always try to say, okay, is this that
Mhm.
right there? No, it's him.
That's
It's her.
right. That's
Yeah.
right.
It's him. They
Yeah,
just look
I
for
believe that.
They
Yeah.
just look for that
Opportunity.
Right.
Yeah.
to exercise that particular act.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so, I mean,
yeah, that's a really good point.
But what it comes down to is that they need to do some psychological evaluations on the people that they sit there and take into custody. You know, that's what they pay these big doctors and psychologists for. You know, these crimeologists to understand. And so, okay, we need to take this too much freedom that's being given. Because
Right.
You go on,
Right.
You go on YouTube, internet. I mean, everything
Mhm.
is out there.
Yeah.
There used to be restrictions
On
know,
what you could
when we
put
were
up.
kids.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
now you see stuff on regular TV that you
Right.
can only get on HBO or something.
That's
Right.
right.
You know, now
Yeah.
it's-
After a certain time of night.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
So now it's that inception in the mind. Once you create that image in the mind of a child, and they want to reenact that, like
Right.
you remember back in the day when they had that football that football movie where those guys was laying out there in the middle of the road. They were playing chicken with each other.
Yes.
And so you had these other
yes.
guys. They never that thought never conceived. That thought was never conceived into their
Right,
minds
until they saw it.
Until they saw the
and they
movie,
would
right.
reenact it. And
Right.
it's the same thing with
Right.
a lot of stuff that's
Right.
out there. So
Yeah.
it's up to the parents to train their kids, watch their kids, watch what they watch, and let
Right.
them know that this is mere entertainment.
Right.
It goes with the music as well.
Mhm,
And not
that's
just
true.
not just letting them know that it's mere entertainment, but there needs to be some parental parental control, and parents just saying absolutely not, that's not appropriate for you.
Yeah.
If you've got to put blocks on certain devices, do what you need to do, because you know, if the 12-year-old is in the same room with the 8-year-old, and the 12 or 14-year-old may be playing a game, it truly may not be appropriate for the 8-year-old. Or if an 18-year-old is playing a
Mhm.
game, it may not be appropriate for the
Oh, they just
12-year-old.
having fun.
Well, but you know what?
That's
Now,
what they say.
That's what they say. They're
just
just having fun. And like you're saying, these kids are internalizing a lot
Yes.
of this. And then we see the result of this with crimes, because you hear when they're interviewed by the police, people saying, well, I watched it. I wanted to see, they did it on whatever show, or they did it on this game.
Yeah. Well, now you all being educators, I'm sure you all see on the youth end how these things are playing out. A lot of parents did not realize the very difficult job that
The teachers had. Yes.
until COVID hit.
Right.
Mm.
And now all of a sudden they had to
Called me at 11
become,
o'clock at night.
yes, they had
Yeah.
to become, they had to do their own jobs a lot of times. They had
Yes.
to be teachers a lot of times. And, you know, a lot of times the parents were like, oh, wow, I did not realize.
Well,
You know,
and
it was-
you know, one thing I want to say to teachers, you know, I have got to take my hat off to
I
my
love
fellow
y'all.
teachers. Yes, to my fellow teachers, because it's normalized a little bit right now. But last year, when we truly had to have what they call a hybrid class, where you had to teach virtually, and you had the students sitting there looking at you too, and it had to be meaningful, and you had to engage the students who were virtual as well as the students who are in front of you. Keep that class going in a cohesive way. And when you call on the one that's virtual and you're saying, Jim, are you there? Jim? Oh, miss, I'm sorry. I'm riding in the car. My dad and I are getting ready to go get a barbecue sandwich.
Yeah.
And
Or we
I've
putting up Christmas lights.
and or you know what I mean by that is that, you know, it's so important. We need the parents to hold the children accountable too. And if a kid is supposed to be in class at a certain time, we needed the parents to say, okay, if you're at home, I need you to not have that television on. I need for you to make sure you've got that PC on at a certain time and engage with that class. And if the teacher calls me and tells me that that's not happening, really address that in a meaningful way. If that means confiscating those electronics, do whatever you have to do, because we did have some students, and Rebecca can attest to this, who did very well and turned in every assignment in that particular type of environment. So it can be done.
And then also, I think what also wasn't shed a light on was teachers' mental health at the same time. Because personally, I had 10 COVID deaths hit me back to back to back while I was teaching.
Wow.
Yeah. So family members, friends, close friends, my phone was, such and such passed. What? So I didn't have time to grieve for one.
Right.
I didn't have time to process because I had kids I had to teach.
Right.
And when I was talking to other teachers, they were going through the same thing.
Absolutely.
Right.
I had one teacher friend of mine who was taking care of her mother who had gotten COVID.
Right.
She couldn't even see her mom
for
days at a time in the hospital.
Wow.
And she was teaching high school.
Right.
Nobody ever asked us how we felt in a lot of instances. And that was tough. That was a tough environment.
Right. I bet. I'm sure it was. And in a perfect world, I know parents should be doing certain things. And from just speaking to you all, I know that a lot of times that perfect world does not exist.
Yes.
It does not exist.
Parents have got a hard job.
They
Parents have got a hard job.
They have a hard job.
And you know, the thing about it is, I think the teachers, for the most part, we sympathize, we empathize with the parents.
Of course.
And we know that they have got a hard job. And you know, many of them had to leave their jobs in order to stay at home, because you have some students that are underage sometimes who can't stay at home.
Right.
So everyone was really put in a very, very difficult situation. Thank goodness, for the most part, we made it out of it. I can't say completely unscathed, but we made it out of it. And I was able to actualize some skills I didn't even know that I had.
Right.
And you know, and so that was a good thing. There's always a silver lining of sorts if you look for a silver lining.
Right.
But you know, I wanted to pose that question because that's something that that's been heavy on my mind for the last year, and just watching how crime has escalated. Guys, do you remember? I think everybody here except maybe Quincy is from Texas, right? And you've been in Texas for a long time. Yes. Yes.
We made it
Everybody is a Texan. And do you all remember when you didn't hear about people stopping their cars on the freeway or at the light and getting out and shooting at each other? And I mean, that was unheard of. You hear it at least 3 times a week now. Okay. You know, are people just that much more stressed? Or like Quincy said, is it something that was in them at the whole time that they have an excuse now to let that out?
Yeah, all the red flags and stuff. We see them red flags. We think they're gonna go away. No, you have identified yourself.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yes.
It's true. I mean, yeah, it's true. And the thing about it, it's like, here's what I'm wondering. People have to realize there are cameras all over
Yeah.
the place.
You will get
Every
caught.
time
You will get
something
caught.
comes on the news,
Yeah.
they always have a huge picture of somebody's face, and they say, if you have seen this person, oh,
Yes.
don't let it be a reward.
Yeah.
If it's a reward, that person will be turned in like that.
Immediately. That's right.
And family members will turn them in. Family
Yes.
and friends will
Yeah.
turn them in and get that reward first.
Yeah.
I know I would.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But and all my friends and family know it, they don't ever have
That's
to,
right.
they don't ever have to ask, I wonder who turned me in. Oh, Kim turned me in. Yeah, I'm the one. I did it. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, you know, I don't understand the thought process of people who, like you were saying, who would stop in the middle of
Road rage.
Road
Yeah.
rage. It's a camera on you.
Absolutely.
And
There are
then-
several cameras. People have cameras, dash cams.
Yeah.
And the thing about
Cameras,
it is,
ring doorbells.
it's made me afraid. I've never been afraid to drive. You don't know if you accidentally hit your brakes. If you've got to hit your brakes behind someone, somebody in the back of you may think that you were, you know, being funny and pull up beside you and start shooting. You just don't even know.
Is it that much pent up anger?
Well,
I mean,
think-
really,
I
against
think
just
Immediate-
random people.
Immediate gratification too, because that's immediate gratification.
Yeah.
You want to do this and see, unless you've been in a pressurized situation,
Right.
To where it's like I know if I seek immediate gratification, it's not going to be in my best interest.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people just like whatever. If I feel it, then it's right. Just because you feel it doesn't mean that it's okay
Right.
to do. And
Yeah.
that's the reason why they disregard the cameras and disregard. And then when they get in the court, it's like, oh my God, I'm sorry. Have mercy. You just done all this right here. Ain't nobody for that mercy on
Right.
you.
But
But
I
I
think
think-
that and you know what? Immediate gratification in combination with having access to a gun right there
Yes.
is
Yeah.
a
And in
bad
Texas right now,
combination.
it's free to carry your gun.
It's
now.
and
I
it's
just
a
think
bad
I think
combination.
as a society we've just become so desensitized. I think that's just what it is.
Desensitization. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Katie.
Yeah.
Desensitized and I have rights. I have the right to speak my opinion. I have freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And not knowing sometimes your freedom of speech could
Come with consequences.
Come with
Right.
consequences.
Right.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
and
the freedom of speech can enslave you.
Right.
Mhm.
that too. You know,
Mhm.
yeah, for a very long time.
Yeah.
Or even enslave the wrong person with your openly free mouth.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, let me throw this out there to you all. One thing that we have really that's been a hot button issue in Texas within just the past 2 years, of course, has been the changes in all types of voting legalities. And that's something that all of us have probably definitely an opinion on. And I will say this. Maybe people would call me the eternal optimist. And I know Rebecca and I go around and around about this, but
She really is.
but I'm the eternal optimist. I don't feel that that it's a lost cause to believe in humanity. I do not feel that way. I feel that we have got some ground to gain, yes, but and certainly with fairness and equity and voting and people feeling as though elections are fair, people feeling as though that their rights are being observed in voting. Yes, I think all those things are definitely on the table, but I do feel like we can get there and we will get there. Now, with voting the way it is in Texas right now, Kim, I'm going to ask you this. What are some ways that you feel that we can ensure with there being many more restrictions? What are some ways that you feel we can ensure that those who want to be represented at the polls are represented in the way that they want to be represented?
Well, of course, it's getting people registered
Yes.
and getting people out to vote. Absolutely. I think a lot of times, especially when it comes to, I love young people. I have a daughter who is 19.
Yes.
But I think a lot of times when it comes to young people, there is a microwave mentality.
Yes.
You know, I want it to happen right then.
Right.
If it, you know, if I voted this time, I heard something yesterday on the news that just really disheartened me. It was a young woman who was interviewed,
Right.
and she said, well, I voted and I don't see any change. I'll probably never vote again.
Change doesn't happen like
and
that.
I was like, oh my gosh.
What are people
This
telling
is
these? Yeah,
exactly what
the problem.
people who
Yeah.
do not want you to vote want
you to think.
hear.
Yes.
They want to hear that, because at that point they know that their plan is working.
Right.
So what we have to do is make people understand it's not going to be instant.
Right.
It's not going to be instant. It's going to take time, a
Right.
lot of times.
Absolutely.
The civil rights movement really as a movement was over the
Decades.
course of
Decades.
over the course of about 20 years.
Right.
You know, from when it really kind of
The
jumped
onset,
off
Yes.
to where we actually saw some laws put into place.
Right.
It was not instant.
Right.
So
And but we knew that.
but we
Yeah.
knew that, and we
Yes.
did not expect it to be instant, and we kept on going for, you know, eyes on the prize. We kept on
Exactly.
going for that change. But what we have to make young people realize is that you have to own your vote. I'm gonna give you just a for instance. Okay, so if somebody has the latest pair of Jordans
Yes.
or whatever the latest tennis shoes are out there right now,
Right.
and they are very expensive,
Yes.
and they are gleaming pristine white.
Right.
If you get a little scuff mark on them, are you going to throw them away? No. What you're going to do is you're going to clean them, and then you're going to wear them, and then you're going to keep on wearing them until you get another pair or whatever.
Right.
So we have to think about it like this. Just like you own that pair of Jordans,
Right.
just like you own the latest whatever,
Right.
you own your vote.
That's right.
Your vote may not be the kind of thing that you're going to see sudden change
And you
in
can't-
doing something.
You can't
with
give it away to somebody
You
else. You
can't-
actually own that.
You own that vote. And if you do not own your vote, someone will own you.
Yeah.
This has been an insidious process over years and years and years,
Mhm.
not only with gerrymandering, with redrawing lines that absolutely do not reflect your particular, the makeup of your state.
Okay.
These things have been happening little bit by little bit.
Okay.
I read something that said, how do you boil a frog? Well, you don't just throw him in that boiling water.
He's on
You
yeah.
put him in tepid water, and you just keep turning up the heat little by little until by the time the frog realizes he's boiling, it's too late.
Yeah.
So same thing with the vote. This has been being chipped away at for years.
Mhm.
So we have to take it back.
Okay.
Take your vote back.
Okay. Kenny,
Yes, ma'am.
what can we do? Or what do you think can be done? Or what would you say to people so that they are assured that they get out there and do whatever it is they need to do to make sure that their vote is heard and recognized? Because I know that you have 2 daughters coming along. What will you say to your daughters about the importance of voting?
It is, one, is your right.
Yes.
So apart from it being your right, our ancestors died for it.
Yes.
You know, it's a
Come
part of
on,
our freedom.
Kenny.
Right.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
in order for you to do honor to your heritage, where
Right.
you come from,
Come on,
and
Kenny.
to embrace who you are as a woman,
Yes.
you need to know everything that it is.
Right.
And one of the things of what it is, I'm trying to speak in the young people words,
Uh-huh.
you have to exercise that.
Right.
The same way how you go out there and pay attention to TikTok and everything else.
Yes.
Mhm.
Pay attention to the people that you are voting for, the people
Yeah.
who have your point of view.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so if you want my vote,
Right.
I want to make sure you have my views in your foresight.
The best interest
Right.
of you.
So-
That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, it's more than just look like me.
That's
You
right.
know, that's
Yes.
cool, but you could look like me and
And not have your
represent me.
interest. That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
We want to make so when you're looking at the politics, just don't just say D or R.
Right.
No, look a little bit deeper
Right.
in that.
Right.
Right.
Because before you get to the DNR, you might have 3 or 4 D's down there. And
Uh-huh.
you want to make sure you pick that
The right one. Yes.
Right.
And you push for that person because they have your mental, your outlook, everything that
Your
want
well-being
done.
at heart.
Yes, at
Right.
heart.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
How about it, Quincy? What do we need to do to make sure that we're telling people that it's important to get out there and exercise their right?
He's so focused.
Educate the people in the language that they understand.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
You know? And so, depending on what demographic that
Right.
you're in, I mean, when you speak about the votes, it's like, okay, how did that judge get in office?
Right.
How did that DA get in office?
Yes.
You know, how did all these different people that are making decisions that's
Right.
affecting your community, how did they get in office?
That's
You don't
right.
Like that. This is how you change that.
That's
Right.
right.
It's just a process, because when they had the young people to go out and vote, and that young lady said, "I ain't see nothing happen, so I ain't voting anymore." That's
Right.
because the people that came to her to sit there and do a vote,
They understand the process.
They
Yeah.
didn't help her understand the process.
Right.
She
Right.
thought
Right.
it was going to be an immediate gratification.
Right.
Right.
An
Right.
immediate change. But there's
Right.
a process
Right.
that this change must come about. It didn't get here overnight.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
not going to change overnight.
Right.
So you
Right.
have to stay in a good fight.
Yes.
So showing people how these votes actually affect them,
Mhm.
Right.
and how their vote can change their circumstances and
Right.
situations in the community in which they're in,
Mhm.
that's what's going to draw them in to where they like, okay, then I'm finna push that button right there.
Right.
You
Uh-huh.
know, so that's how I feel, educating the people in the language that they understand.
That's
And you
great.
know, it's interesting that you use the word education as the last thing that you said, because the last thing that I want to come to talk to my team about is education. Rebecca and I were talking about this on our way over here. We know of a school that last week 5 teachers resigned.
Mm.
And we're in such a crisis right now where we're in such dire need of teachers. What do we need to do to get teachers to know that they are appreciated, and to get teachers to be able to stay in the classroom?
First of all, we don't have 6 hours.
Yes.
So,
Mhm.
so let me go ahead and make this brief. Just let them know that they appreciate it. I think part of the problem is most teachers, as I talk to every single day,
Yeah.
teachers feel devalued.
Right.
Our profession is devalued. People look at us and, oh, you're a teacher? Ugh. You know, it's never a positive thing.
Mhm.
Teachers' mental health is very extremely important.
Okay.
I think people are so focused on the kids, people forget about us
Mhm.
all the time.
Okay.
Okay.
We're just as human,
Right.
and we need just as much as the kids do.
support. You need
Okay.
support. Mhm.
Kim, what do you think we need to do to get good teachers there and to get good teachers to stay?
Because I'm not a teacher, that I really can't answer that as much. I would just look
From
at
a
it from
parent's
the point
perspective.
of a parent's perspective. Well, we know that right now there are people out there who want to be teachers. It's not that there are not teachers coming along.
Right.
It's not that there are not people who are certified.
They don't
but
say.
if you feel like you're on the battlefield because people are trying to rip a mask off of your face, or just things like that, no respect, school board meetings going
Haywire.
completely
Yeah.
haywire, screaming about things that are myths,
Right.
the CRT myth.
Okay.
Then I mean, it's all of that kind of thing that would make, I'm sure, teachers feel very frustrated. So
Right.
I'm gonna hand it back to you.
Okay, guys, did anybody really quickly want to?
I
Yes.
just want to say, y'all kind of opened my eyes up
Uh-huh.
a little bit as far as like the struggle from a teacher, parent, double task duty at the same time.
Yeah.
During COVID. I mean, I just honestly have to take my God, man.
That's right.
A ceremonial hat removal. I love it. I love it. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I love
Thank
my
you.
teachers. I love you guys so much.
Yes, thank you, teachers. I had some teachers just calling me. I couldn't answer. Hey, Lisa Williams, shout out. But,
Hey, Lisa.
But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Again, my wonderful campaign team was here, and you see, when we get together, we have some very, very interesting and important dialogue between us. And this is some of what I come out and I express in the community. When we got together and we sat down and looked at the things that were important to us, the 4 R's were extremely important. We didn't get to all of them tonight. We got to some, but next week we'll get to more. If you are someone who feels that education is something that you are really passionate about and you want to add your perspective on what we can do to keep good teachers in the classroom, please make sure that you go to my website, Crystal Dillard for Texas, the numeral 4.com. Always, as always, I appreciate your support. Go to Crystal Dillard for Texas. Any support that you can give, we appreciate it. Appreciate all of your donations. Keep us going from the schoolhouse to the State House.
Woo!
Say bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Go Stros.